Greetings, we are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and we have currently been looking at a video on YouTube called the 10 Changes Made to the Bible, parts 1 and 2. So today we will look at that very interesting video that's caught our attention, of which we watched very intently. It was given a small history of the origin of the Bible and a few so-called facts at the beginning. Okay, we'll watch sections of it, or you can watch it in your own time if you prefer, the full length.
Hello there guys, and welcome back to another installment of Trey Explains the Bible. It's been a while, hasn't it? Today I've got a video for you guys I've been cooking up. I will discuss 10 and probably more reported intentional changes that have been made to the Bible over the centuries, and what they exactly mean in the context of history. I will also be giving you guys
so it's very well done, very well presented, and again that's why we enjoyed it. We've enjoyed it and did not realize we had already subscribed to this channel quite a while back.
Quick discussion of how the Bible came to us in its modern form. Let me be clear before we start. My job isn't to tell you what these mean to your particular faith, or lack of faith. I'm not here to disprove Christianity or Judaism. My job is to just give you guys the facts and research of biblical scholars and scientists. So
that's what we do at the Ministry of the Real Truth as well. So that's why we also like this video and subscribed.
Without further ado, let's get into it. A few basics about the Bible that you don't commonly hear about. The Bible is perhaps one of the most important texts in history. Composed of the Old and New Testament, it serves as the primary holy book for all of Christianity. The Hebrew Bible, which is composed primarily of what is the Old Testament to Christians, serves as one of the primary holy texts for the Jews. Both Old and New Testaments also serve a lesser role in Islam, the world's second largest religion. About 4 billion people worldwide look to the Bible as the authentic Word of God. The words and verses in these texts have been translated into pretty much every known language surviving today. And the statements and teachings in the Bible affect the judgments of billions. What Moses or what Jesus reportedly said thousands of years ago very much remains significant to a large portion of humanity, from Texas congressmen to Ugandan priests. It is no stretch of the imagination that the words in the Bible can be a matter of life or death to some across the globe. Therefore, it seems that getting the words, sayings, and statements given in the Bible as accurate as possible is very much important. When I was
Okay, then he goes on about his roots, that he in fact is a Christian, and goes on there. So we're not going to dwell into this deeply like we usually do and end up with a 4-hour spiel. Okay, so we've made a lot of notes here, so we're going to read from those. As he said, the words or statements in the Bible is important to many, that it is the unchanged, preserved Word of God and has never been altered or changed, contains no errors or contradictions, preserved and unchangeable, never ever unchangeable, as every word, every comma, etc. Is by God himself, and he won't allow it. That the original texts were written in Greek. A lot of this is phooey, okay, because further on in this video he actually makes statements of evidence that there has been errors, contradictions. There are errors or contradictions. Okay, it's been changed. Texts have been added, removed, etc., and so forth. Okay, and that the original texts were not written in Greek. They were written in the Old Testament sacred Old tongue or scribal tongue, Lishana Artika or Saprea, of the Assyrian Aramaic or the Aramaic. Okay, Katav Asherit, as a lot of our videos have already explained and covered. Okay. This video rightfully mentions the Bible as a translation of a translation of a translation of a translation, or as Bart D. Ehrman, top theologian, puts it, they are a copy of copies 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 of more ancient texts. He actually is a stickler for it was all written in the Greek, originally in the Greek. Okay. And states the original manuscripts have been lost to time. Like, but the Ehrman states you don't have the full original Greek manuscripts or texts. You only have like small fragments, like this P 75, 76, 52, etc., the size of a mobile phone SIM card. Okay, all modern Bibles are translations rewritten to benefit all who speak modern English today. Okay. Yeah, that statement that the original manuscripts have been lost forever is incorrect, as throughout our videos we talk about the original Old Testament Assyrian Aramaic or Kitab Eshet and the Galilean Aramaic New Testament, hidden and preserved, compiled, hidden and preserved by the original Church of the East, founded by the original disciples, one being Thomas, probably the other Thaddeus, around the 1st century AD, hidden and preserved from the Roman Catholics and Islam, and intact as attested by former head patriarch of that church and two people who have gotten hold of those manuscripts, those hidden preserved manuscripts, and translated them, one being Andrew Gabriel Roth, translating the Syriac Peshitta, the original Eastern Syriac Peshitta, not the Western Peshitta. He avoided that, and the Latin Vulgate and so forth, according to his statements on his own website, thearamaecscriptures.com. And also Victor N. Alexander, a native-born Aramaic-speaking Mesopotamian. He was born in Bet Nahrain, and he speaks the Aramaic. He's been translating, as well as doing filmmaking, for over 15 years. Okay, so yeah, again, all modern Bibles are simply translations rewritten over the centuries into modern English for the benefit of modern English speakers. Okay, it gives a history of this video gives a history of the Bible, KJV. It's got a timeline. Okay, as I said in another video, from what I found, King James didn't like the Puritan version, so he wanted a new rewritten English Bible, which he commissioned as he authorized as the only Bible to be read in the churches, the Church of England, okay, that he re-established apparently. Go do your own personal research on that. That's just what I've come across. And it also contained the Apocrypha. Thanks to that guy out there that informed me of that. 1611 till about 1888 when they removed it. Okay, because they felt it shouldn't be in there. Okay, this video also provides an archaeological timeline and compares and makes statements. Then compare and states many appear to say the scriptures have variations, dozens of scriptures possibly done through scribes copying manuscripts over months, even years, and making scribal mistakes. Gets to a heading, changes number 1 and 2. An alteration is noted where one scribe reads a copy, puts a note in the margin, which is still there. You can see it throughout this video. Talking about another scribe, that he is an idiot, that he's cuckoo. Don't change it. You look like a cuckoo. Yeah, and all this sort of thing. So we'll carry on a bit more information from this video.
As a kid in my non-denominational Southern church, yes, I was brought up Christian, I was taught the doctrine of biblical inerrancy, or the belief that the Bible is without error or fault in all of its teachings. I was taught that the Bible was the unchanged and preserved Word of God. In essence, it means that the books, verses, and words of the Bible haven't been changed or altered since they were written down around 2,000 years ago for the New Testament texts, such as the Gospels, or even older for the Old Testament books such as Genesis. I always assumed, because nobody told me otherwise, that we had some old physical copies of the Bible written by Moses or Jesus' disciples or someone of biblical importance, in modern English, mind you, lying around somewhere, that all our modern copies are completely without change or alteration when compared to these ancient original texts. The Holy Book.
Yeah, and he goes on about it's not true that necessarily true that there's this original copy locked away in the Vatican vault, all this sort of stuff. But we do have the original manuscripts from 800 BCE, the Old Testament, to the Galilean Aramaic New Testament. As I said, it was hidden and preserved by the church was founded by Thomas, and then his texts taken by Thomas when the church of Jerusalem was destroyed, and this church that he founded was given to the high priests, who hid them and then preserved them for 2,000 years, as attested by and established by 3 people who I don't believe ever met. So that established the fact as fact. Okay, so yeah, alteration is noted in one ancient manuscript where one scribe reads it later on, or reads it after one had copied it, and then puts a note in the margin, which is still there, telling another scribe that he is an idiot. He told him, don't change it, and you look like a cuckoo. Okay? That's exactly what it says according to this video. Right. You can find that yourself. Okay, scribal mistakes revealed. This guy erased the former scribe's copying. Okay, he changed. Other ones changed the words and left a comment or two in the margin, telling him he's an idiot, as we just stated. In a certain verse, completely left out due to a scribal error. And some alterations were intentional and motivated, deliberate alterations to the text. In some places, some verses, words, and entire passages have been added, subtracted, or changed beyond recognition. Scholars, both Christian and agnostic, even atheist, verifies this as fact, and state that some have created over the centuries had created their own versions of the Bible that weren't in the original manuscripts, etc. Wholly new additions that weren't in the original text at all. Okay. And this video continues on giving more facts. The 12 disciples were Galilean fishermen, as it states in this video, so didn't know how to read or write, so may have been written by later authors or anonymous authors. Okay, I think if there was a Matthew who was a tax collector, he must have known numbers, he must have known how to write. Okay, might have been semi-educated, but at least it sounds like he had skills to read and write, being a tax collector. So maybe he wrote it all down, or there was somebody hanging around with him that had those skills and wrote it all down, recorded it. Okay, what they heard, saw, and done. Or it was a later supposed witness or person told, relayed those stories, who wrote it down, etc., etc. Okay, testimonies of all writings, apparently true. In John 21:24, the video states one testifies. So I think it might be like, let's just say, for example, Peter's walking along and he sees the disciple that supposedly Jesus loves right with them, and he testifies, and he writes all down of what he's heard, seen, experienced, witnessed, right? So it's backed up by Peter saying, well, that person, the disciple that Jesus loved, he testified, and all that he testified to is true. So there's one backing up the other. In the video, it's got women are omitted, word omitted, perhaps due to later male sexists or chauvinists, limiting their rights and capabilities through the confines of religion in their era or thereafter, and making women's names become men's names, or turning their names into men's names, preventing women from learning how to read and teach and being apostles in their era. Or, I want to put it another way, they change feminine names into masculine names. Junior as a man, Junia, Junia, as a man rather than a woman, to reduce the role of woman in the early church. A movement by scribes to reduce women in the early church. It indicates that the scripture "Father, forgive them" is left out in some older Bible versions, manuscripts of Luke. Okay. AD 80 to 110, Gospel Papyrus P75 leaves it out, but it appears in later versions like the Codex Vaticanus, etc., added or perhaps altered to appease the Roman government and make them look like the good guys, and absolves the Romans and the Jews from the blame of executing Christ. Okay, as anti-Semitism was prevalent or active in some Christian sects, sects, in those days. Okay, so we have the original Aramaic New Testament around here somewhere. I'll just grab it. And what we're going to do is we are going to have a look at the verse that he suggested, Luke 23:33, in the Aramaic New Testament translated by Victor Ian Alexander. So it's Luke 23:34, to see if it's actually in there. So I think the video said something along those lines. Is it really in the? Is it in the original? Yeah. So we're going to have a look. 23:34. When I find it, just check that verse again. 23:33 to 34. So what does it say? Okay, it says. Sure, that's Luke 23. Sure that is. Just check that, just in case I end up in Matthew or something. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it must be. 33:34. And as they came to a place that is called the Skull, they crucified him there, and the evildoers also, one from his right and one from his left. However, Joshua, or Jesus the Messiah, said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." So it's included in this supposed original Galilean Aramaic translation by Victor Ian Alexander. Okay, so it is in there, if this is the original, copy of the original. And they divided his garments and they cast lots over them. However, the people stood and watched as the leaders of the nation ridiculed him, saying, "Others he brought back to life, let him bring himself back to life, if he was the anointed one, chosen of Allah, or God," the title of God. Okay, so we looked at that. It's not been removed from the original, and it wasn't an addition. This video covers the Trinity. Okay, I forgot to put up a picture of the winged disc icon. I can explain that in a different video if people request it, because there is a great difference between the Mesopotamian winged disc icon of the triune, the Elohim, Elohim, which is different to the Hebrew Elohim, Elohim. Even though they were sister languages, the word has changed, right? The meaning has changed. Okay, and the triunity, the ancient triunity versus the Tertullian Trinity. Okay, the Christian theological version of that. It's very, very different. I can do a separate video upon request explaining that. I actually done a video on it. Did a video on it, I think. I'll put a link to it if I have below this video. Okay. The Trinity or Christian Godhead, stating the three are one, yet distinct beings at the same time. Okay, the winged disc icon of the true triunity and it versus the Tertullian concept of the Trinity. The difference between the ancient Mesopotamian icon text versus the later Christian theological version, Tertullian version, right? The video then states the altered Vaticanus text rewritten into Greek in regards to the Johannine comma. Okay, so we at the Ministry of the Real Truth like this video and the explanation. Obviously, that's why we subscribed. Okay, it is a near account, pretty factual to what we have discovered via our own personal research. Okay. Okay, I'm just reading from my notes because there's a lot of information here that people aren't aware of. Okay, the 10 changes made to the Bible, part 2. That's covering that part 2 of that video, right? In the previous video, it was said changes were intentionally and often unintentionally done. Okay? Changes to the Bible, okay, that we have today. These changes have ended up in the modern Bibles we have today, the Americanized modern Bible versions, all coming from one source. Okay, and they contain sexism, male chauvinism is revealed, and more. This part 2 mentions the Passion of the Christ movie by Mel Gibson. Okay, like that movie, it's very detailed. Which is a retelling by Mel Gibson of the Saint Catherine's supposed vision of her witnessing in a vision, or through a vision, the Passion events, detail by detail, from the Last Supper to Christ's crucifixion, etc. That she was actually there in the spirit. She had this vision, etc. Okay, and the scene where Mary, Jesus' mother in the movie, picks up a cloth or a handkerchief is from that vision story, The Passion of the Christ, by I think it's called the Dolores Passion, yeah, by Saint Catherine. So it's a depiction of that vision by her, right, through Mel Gibson. And Mel and Jim, who play Jesus, Cavaziel, is Mel and Jim, who play Jesus, are Roman Catholics. Mel had to get permission from the Pope, the then Pope, and Billy Graham's approval before the film was released. They gave him the nod and it was released. Okay. The Aramaic used in the movie supposedly is a mix of Syriac and Arabic and a mumble jumble, according to notes by the, or comments by the Aramaic speaking translator Victor N. Alexander. I remember that on his, I think it was on his website before it was downed. I'd have to look for it again to verify that, or some other comment under a video or something like that. Okay, so it's mumbo jumbo, yeah, complete mess. As the Romanian in the movie Dracula, starring Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder is not real Romanian, but a mumble bumble, you know, under the breath, fake, supposedly Romanian. I think a Romanian lady I worked with, or bumped into at a job I was doing, she actually verified that as well. Okay, Mark 1:41, perhaps altered to make Jesus more compassionate than angry. Okay. In this video, it is asked which is the original. So we just showed you that. Supposedly it's the Aramaic Galilean New Testament from the original Church of the East, given to them by Thomas the disciple, hidden and preserved for 2,000 years, and intact, never messed with, as verified and established fact by 3 people, yeah, that have never met, never sat in the same room, and so forth. Okay, many of the books have different claims. One woman, hang on, no, 2 women at the tomb, no, perhaps several women went to see the tomb, right, and so forth. I think it says here, according to Mark 16:9-18, discrepancies found Vaticanus text ends at Mark 16:8. No passage is missing or destroyed, it's just not there. An ending inserted later on. A longer ending, a short, a long, an even longer one, known as the fourth ending. So again, which one is the original ending of Mark? I think we just showed you that. We'll have a look again on that one. What was the verse? Mark 16:9-18. We'll just have a quick look at that one to see that it's actually in there. Is it Mark? Did we do Luke last time? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we just did that. But then again, Mark 16. What is it? 16. Oh my gosh, I lost it. 16. Pretty sure it was Mark 16. Where is it? 16:8. Okay. 16:8. And as they heard, they ran. Okay, we'll go a bit further back on that. From Mark 16:1. And as the Sabbath ended, Mary Magdalene and Mary of James and Salome, so there's two women there in Mark, bought spices to come and anoint him. At dusk, however, on Sunday, they came to the tombs as the sun had set, and they said inside themselves, "Who will roll a stone off the entrance of the tomb for us?" Because big, then they're woman, right? And they looked and saw that the stone had been rolled off, for it was really big. And they entered the tomb and saw a young man sitting from the right, wearing a white robe, and they were amazed. He then said to them, "Do not be afraid. You are seeking Joshua the Nazarene, or Jesus the Messiah, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here anymore. Behold, the place he was consecrated. Except go off and tell his disciples and keeper, Peter, right, or Cephas, that behold, he will be ahead of you in Galilee. There you will see him, where he told you." And as they heard, they ran and exited the tomb, for they were seized by amazement and trembling, and they did not say anything to any human being, for they were afraid. Okay, so it doesn't end there in this original Aramaic New Testament. Okay, it goes on to verse 9. At dusk then on Sunday he rose and was seen, first by Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had cast out 7 demons. Okay, was that the prostitute that used to hear to wipe his feet, etc., and do tears? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's so. Okay, so we're having a look at the footnotes, because there was footnote indications there. Okay, 16:8, 16:2. Okay, footnote 16:2 on page 109. Literal Aramaic, Kor Sheba, or first of Sabbath, first day of the week, except for the Sabbath and Rotha, Friday, day of preparation. Okay, so we're going to do a video on the fact that there was a day of preparation as in accordance with the World's Last Chance website. Okay, the other days of the week are numbered 1st through 5th. Okay, and Jesus the Nazarene in verse 16:6:1, literal Aramaic means Jesus the Nazarene. Nazarene means victorious, as mentioned in the book of Matthew in the Aramaic New Testament. His name shall be called the Nazarene, because he will be victorious. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that verse, that chapter doesn't end at 16:8 in the original Aramaic Galilean New Testament, and it continues through 9 to 16:9. That's where it ends, 16:9. 16:9 verse 20 by the looks of it. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so that's originally was in there. as it is stated, has been stated that chapter 8 has been lost to history, that the woman kept what they were told and said secret, so never told anyone, so there was never an ending. Yeah, later on it was added. Okay, a longer portion was added. So if they didn't have it, and these women didn't tell anyone what they'd seen and heard, been told to tell everybody else, especially Peter, well then it would never have said that, or they would never have talked, and it would never have mentioned that he rose again. Okay, according to this video. Okay, so as all of this is fact, the ministry of the real truth presents the supposed original Old Testament manuscript scriptures in the old language of the ancient scribes and monks, the Lishana Atika or Lishana Saprea of the original Assyrian Aramaic or Aramaic Kitab Asheret, later compiled in 800 BCE, the OT and Galilean Aramaic New Testament compiled into one book, Bible, in around about the 2nd century, 4th century, hidden and preserved by the original Church of the East, founded by Thomas, the disciple, the original disciple of Jesus the Messiah, or Jesus the Christ, or Yahshua Mashiach. This video also states books removed, entire books removed from the Bible, not always consistent throughout history. Okay. Some removed, some added. Okay. Gnostic books found in the caves of Qumran by a peasant. Okay. There's so many different variations. It was a boy throwing rocks in there, hit a jug, heard the sound of a broken jug or whatever, went in there, found all these old manuscripts. Some guy had lost his goat, went in there to find it and found these old jars, and some other guy, it's just there's variations to it, right? But they found Gnostic books in those caves as well, amongst them, which were later not included in the Bible canon, as considered or regarded as heretical, because the Gnostics had these different ideas, right? Different stories, okay, but they were found alongside the Qumran Dead Sea Scrolls, right? And there was a bit of a worry, I read years ago, that the Vatican Church, etc., didn't want them translated, because there was one specific Catholic translator, priest translator, that went there, right, to do it. Okay, but there was a scare that it's going to tell a completely different story, so they didn't like the idea. They didn't want them published, but apparently they did get published, translated and published eventually. Okay, these Gnostics, having their different stories and different beliefs, were considered heretics by Christians and Jews. Okay, but they're probably later, but they were once read alongside other manuscripts, texts by early Christians and Jews. This is according to this guy in this video. In conclusion, the Bible has been changed throughout history. Anyone who has taken the time to do personal research and come to their own realizations knows this as fact. So we at the Ministry of the Real Truth believe that what this guy has stated in the video, that in conclusion the Bible has been changed throughout history, and anyone who has taken the time to do personal research knows this. Okay, so we agree, because for that reason that we did our own personal research, etc., right, and have found this to be fact. So if you like this video, you can watch it yourself in your own time, come to your own understandings and conclusions, and later on, because we found that verse about the Sabbath and the days of preparation, or the day of preparation before it, we can do a video covering that. The book of Exodus, the original OT version, right, and from the original scribal language, sacred old tongue, okay, into English by a Aramaic speaking translator, Victor N. Alexander, I don't know if what's his name, Messianic Jew Andrew Gabriel Roth has covered the Old Testament. He probably has, but I've probably got a few of his old ebooks, so I'd have to dig those up, the Old Testament and his Peshitta, Syriac Peshitta, and have a look to see what he has to say. It's just like some, like on his website, he seems to use the Hebrew, the Syriac Hebrew, right? The modern derivative Syriac, and a lot of Hebrew words like Yeshua and so forth. Okay, go check out that site, the AramaicsScriptures.com. Go look for Victor N. Alexander's video on YouTube. Put in the Aramaic Scriptures and it should come up Aaron Even. Yeah, typo there. By him. Okay, and you shall learn more from those. Okay, those are the two who have translated from the original Church of the East and the original Church of the Eastern manuscripts, as I said, hidden and preserved for 2,000 years. So, got any doubts about that they're authentic, get hold of them. Okay, you'll probably find the email address, get hold of them and say, hey, look, give me your facts, right? Prove to me that they are the original, that you copied from the original manuscripts, etc., etc. Maybe we can get together and see them, look at them, or bring along an expert, whatever, a qualified expert, not serial box one, okay, or garage one, and we'll verify that you are actually telling the truth. Okay, so this is the Ministry of the Real Truth. We're not going to make it too long, alright, I think we'll end it there. So don't forget to subscribe, add your comments, give us a like, and tell all your friends about this video and our channel.